In this video, let's look at another useful feature from Microsoft Excel, which is known as freeze panes. Okay, let us move on to our worksheet here. As of now, the entire data is fitting into one screen view, which means whatever database I have is visible in single view itself. But there will be times when our database is flowing into too many columns or too many rows, and it would be a bit difficult to fit in just one single screen view and reading that data. So to give you an example, instead of increasing the data here, what I will do is I will increase the zoom size. So let me come here in the zoom in option, and as of now we were looking at the data at 100% view. It's quite readable. But still I will like to increase the view to, let's say, 150% here. Okay, and like I did, you can see now that the view that I currently have gives me some column headers, months, and then some numbers, but we don't exactly know what we are looking at just because we don't have supporting data in this view here. Okay, and similarly, suppose if the view is something like this, then I only get to see numbers. Now I don't even have the column headers, and now in this view obviously we will not be able to understand what are these numbers all about. So in such cases, what we need is, in any view we actually need the column headers and my row headers intact in there, so that I can be able to understand what kind of data we are looking at, right? So to do that, let me use these scroll bars to go straight to the top. I can see my row number 1 here, and let me drag this scroll bar to the left, and I can see my column headers as well. And to solve this problem, what we have is, in the view tab here, Windows group, I have an option which is known as freeze panes. If I click on this button, we have 3 options: freeze panes, freeze top row, and freeze first column. Now freeze panes is something that we can specify which columns and which rows to freeze. Freeze top row, as the option tells us, it will freeze the top row, which is the row number 1, and freeze first column will freeze the first column here. So let me try this out, freeze first column. Okay, I have clicked on it, and now we can see there is a darker line here between the first column and rest of the data. And when we try to scroll our data to the right hand side using this scroller, now you can see that the column headers remain then and there, so that we can understand which city these numbers are, right? So this is the use of freeze panes. It freezes the first column here so that the headers remain then intact, and when we scroll our data to look for other columns, or say for the totals here, we get to see which city those numbers belong to. Okay, and in similar fashion we can try this out with the rows as well. Say for example, if I scroll down like this, our rows are not freezing, not intact there, and here we cannot understand for which month this data is here, right? So for that, what we can do is, I am going again into this freeze space options, and when we have something freezed, we get this option changed to unfreeze panes. So let me try this out. Okay, I have unfreezed the first column now, and first freeze top row will not help us here, right? This is the top row, it will not help us here because we have the row headers in third row here. So what we will need to do is click here. When we click here, everything on the left hand side and top of this cell will get freezed using the freeze panes option. So I have clicked here, I come to freeze panes, and now if I click freeze panes here, now we can see when I scroll to the right, see the first column is intact. I can see with the data which city the data belongs to, and similarly if I use this scroll to scroll down, you can see that the row headers are also intact, and now we can absolutely understand which month the data belongs to. Okay, even if I am looking only at the totals, I get to understand which the months they belong to. And if I scroll this to the left and to the top, we obviously see rest of the headers here. Okay, so this is how freeze panes will be useful to you to get the headers intact in such kind of view wherein you have too much of data to fit in a single view. Okay, let me go to the freeze panes again, click unfreeze panes, and let me zoom out again to make my data visible in single view at 100%. Okay, so this is freeze panes for you. Let us meet in our next video.